The way of English. Today we'd like to give you ICEE special. ICEE stands for Intercultural English Exchange. Exchange what? We're going to look into that. Before that, I want you to remember, I'm the founder of ICEE. I'm the spirit behind all this. And this is my baby. You know, I'm going to talk about the philosophy and what's behind all this, and rock and water, one at a time. You know, it takes a village to raise a kid, says Hillary Clinton, but I go on to say that it takes a village to, quote unquote, infuse you into ICEE village-style communication. So, you know, two kinds of approach to learn English. One is learn it in the major big city, metropolitan area. The other is to throw you back into the village so that you can feel each other out. And we're going to deal with the touchy-feely aspect of English language communication. So, it takes a village, I repeat. Takes a village to raise a kid, takes a village to infuse you into my home. I'm home to you, and you're home to me. Philosophy, the spirit behind all this. The ICEE, as I told you earlier, it takes a village to infuse you into our territory. So, the spirit counts a great deal. The bedrock principle that used in the other forms of philosophy, meaning that if you make it in ICEE, you can make it anywhere. So, the rules of success, edited by Napoleon Hill and organized by Kuryu Matsumoto, goes that in the shape of hexagonal principle. Just look at this. You can get some idea about what I mean by the bedrock principle that come hexagonal. Hexagonal principle works anywhere. So at the bedrock principle begins with the mastermind, that it takes more than one person to make a whole of you. You cannot be on your own unless you have someone around. So you're going to lean on somebody before you begin to lean in. Sheryl Sandberg says, you got to lean on you, meaning lean in to get straight into your chosen way of life. The ICEE begins with a rock principle, meaning understanding other persons. So it begins with introducing others instead of introducing yourself. It's easy for you to introduce yourself. Hey, I'm a carpenter. I'm a journalist. I'm a truck driver. But it's harder for you to introduce your partner. What kind of a person he is. You're in the position to market your friend, not just to sell yourself, but to sell your friend. It has to do with empathy instead of sympathy. So we begin with this. What is ICEE, by the way? ICEE is threefold. Number one, it is a matsuri. Matsuri is a rite of passage. It's not just a festival. The rite of passage that everyone has to go through in your life. So something you have to go through whether you like it or not. Number two, it is a show. It's an entertainment. You just enjoy watching other people, you know, perform. Number three, it is a test, nevertheless, a real test. It's not just a test that tests your English abilities, but it's a test to character, size you up in terms of a character, personality. So it gives you a chance to improve yourself. Prove yourself, which is more correctly, so that you will be able to stand on your own. So You have to make an extemporaneous speech based on what you see. How do you see yourself? How do you see other persons? So that begins with understanding other persons. That's the best way to know yourself. Rock. You go down to the rock just in case you lose your way back to where you started from. On the ground rule says you must develop interest in other persons. Meaning that you have to understand other persons, empathize with them before you just sell yourself, market yourself. So you have a choice: introducing yourself, introducing other persons you're dealing with. ICEE is characterized by spontaneity, 即興性, improvisation, as you have to think on your own. So the weekly magazine 週刊新潮 for this morning I picked up on the stall says it features two persons, Koike Yuriko, the other Bob Dylan. Now you have a choice. You have to pick a card out of the deck of cards, and it says you have a Bob Dylan. You're going to identify with him, and you're going to talk about him to the best of your knowledge. He started at the bottom, village in New York. He started at the bottom. He grew to the top to win the Nobel Prize. So it shows that you're going to start at the bottom, and it gives you some idea about what kind of a person you are. Are you going to identify with him, or is he going to identify with you? So you have a choice. On the gate of rock, you have to stay rooted in the soil, so to speak. So first you have to think in terms of the developing interest. What matters most, in addition to spontaneity? Curiosity. You have to develop a curiosity against anything, any topic under the sun. The most gifted person like Leonardo da Vinci, Galileo, or the most of the Michelangelo, for example, started with the intense curiosity. That's what it takes to make it to the top. Like I told you earlier, if you can make it at ICEE, you can make it anywhere. First, challenge yourself before you challenge others. Watergate. Time for you to water yourself. How do you develop and promote your English? First, by giving yourself a logic that goes beyond language. English is just a language, but it's more than language. The language, lingua franca, but we have to go beyond the variety of Englishes. The logic that comes from music, logic with a backbone and into languages. So it begins with the logic that begins with the why, because. Why? Because. Why is offense? Because of defense. You're trying to, get him, you try to, begin with the offense. It's a sort of like a prosecutor versus defense attorney. And you have to defend your opponent and defend your friend, yourself. So, before you begin to make a speech about yourself, why don't you ask yourself questions that begin with a why? I'm from Osaka. Osaka people are more aggressive. Aggressiveness works much better than ICEE. Why? Because Osaka is number 2 against after Tokyo. Why does that matter? Why is that important? Because staying behind the number 1, you try harder. Like an avious car rental business says, we're number 2, meaning that we try harder. Everyone gets the message. Health's number 1. They're sitting on the laurel. Here I'm number 1. Number 2, with to your screen, you try harder to catch up with the number one, the front runner. So, being number two, try harder. That's why the Kansai people try harder, try to be more aggressive. Sometimes, aggressiveness doesn't work, I give you that. But in most cases, to develop your curiosity, aggressiveness. And it pays to be back in Osaka instead of in Tokyo. In Tokyo, it pays to be polite first, but truthful second. But down in Kansai, people try to be, truthful, even when it hurts. Truth hurts, but that's the way it is, Life is, it's a series of bumpy roads. To survive, sometimes you have to go through hell to get to heaven. So, why don't you try to be more aggressive than previously? Try to be more assertive. はい、それではまとめます。もう一度この絵をご覧ください。ナポレオンヒルの成功の法則の中でちょっとタコの絵を私が描きました。The kite of success generally rises against the wind of adversity rather than with it. 抵抗の味方にするんで、抵抗に対して戦いながらでないとタコは舞い上がらないということですね。これが ICEE の基本じゃないですかね。ICEE の基本って自分がない。Lose yourself。これがね、恥をかくとか罪と意識があったら ICEE が怖いものです。ICEE が怖い人は自分が怖いんですね。一度空っぽになっていらっしゃいませんか？ Lose yourself. Somebody loves you all the way. We are watching you as long as you are watching us. So trust us. Don't change horses in midstream. 道弘松本ノーネスチャンネル東京ジャパン。Welcome to ICEE.
Motivating for me, not just as
Actually, I'm running away this year. Our friendly federation.
Well known for this fluency. One and only Mr. Matsumoto.
バイリンガルというのは言葉だけどね、バイカルチャーというのはね、そういう中身なんですね。
Why are you here? Why are you changing the test? Japanese. Stage romantic. It is
恥をかくのが当たり前、恥をバネに、生きていく人間を作っていきたい。
Some real estate companies are plenty of others. And as someone maybe say, please tell us about your honest participation. What do you mean by that?
Video and we have Chinese. So, ladies and gentlemen, Miss Nafisa Minai, give her a big round of applause. Thank you very much. competitors. As a matter of fact, as he mentioned this,
So, and we are not the most fluent English speakers, but we still moved up to the final stage. And so ultimately, it's about what you say, the content of the speech or message.
This is perfect moment of announcement. Perfect storm, perfect crisis. Enjoy.